Welcome to Hip Hop Now Podcast. If you're from the future, you know what to do. Get your ass out of here. Don't disrespect the legend. Hip Hop is here to stay. Let's get right into the business. What up, y'all? I am your host, Vegas, and this is Hip Hop Now Podcast, a bonus episode designed to keep you caught up on all things hip-hop music and culture, and sometimes it's a hip-hop list right here on the internet, and it's kind of fun to review what people think, what people get mad about, which is typically what happens. But Complex, we all know him and love him, is back with another list, and since this list deals specifically with the 90s, as you can tell, the 90 best rap albums of the 90s is you speaking to me, okay? So what we're going to do is, you know how I do. I'm not going over all 90 of them, right? I have a life. But we're going to look at the last 10 and the first 10. I haven't seen this list, so this is my live reaction. Let's do it. All right. The 90 best, hold on. They got so many pop-ups, it's just ridiculous. Okay. The 90 best rap albums of the 90s. Now, for context, before we get angry and all of that, we have to read what they wrote. From the golden age to the shiny suit era, we're counting down the best rap albums of the 90s, from classics like Nas's Illmatic to Jay-Z's Reasonable Doubt. Whatever. And this is all so when you want to get mad, here they all go. They all here, all right, for y'all to get mad at. Al Shipley's here also. I think we follow each other on Twitter, something like that. Whatever. But let's get into that last. Jay-Z's the cover art. Interesting. Let's get into it. We're not going to read all this. We're not going to look at all these advertisements. We're going to go right to number 90. Mos Def, Black on Both Sides. Definitely should be on this list. The last album on this list, that's kind of crazy. But again, we're talking 1990 to, I guess, 1999. There's a lot of classic music and crazy hip-hop albums. So, I don't know. Oh, wait, hold on. This says, this feature was originally published in 2014. So maybe they refreshed the list with some new people. All right. 89, BG, Chopper City in the Ghetto. Wow. BG, before most. Okay, let's keep going. King T, the Trifling album at 88. That's cool. Definitely should be on this list. ODB, Old Dirty Bastard, Return to 36 Chambers, the dirty version. Definitely should be on this list. I have my opinions about that album. I liked it. Don't get me wrong. I liked it, but just not something I ever really go back to and listen to now. Unless, like seeing the cover now is like, oh, maybe I should listen to this again. Company Flow, Fun Crusher Plus, 86. The Boom Bap gods may have some words for this. I don't. Definitely should be on this list, though. 8 Ball and MJG coming out hard. Pause. That's what she said. I don't know if I heard this one, though, so that might be something I should go back and check out. Redman, What the Album, definitely should be on this list at 84. You know what else should be on this list? Scarface, Mr. Scarface is back, 1991. This is my favorite Scarface album. Look at the cover. Okay. Coke all on the table, money, a gunfight, all shotguns. Early 90s gangster rap. You know what I'm saying? And the album backs up that type. You see Scarface's face? Look at Scarface's face in that. Looking like how the way he's looking, that's how the whole album sounds. So if you just like, let's just say you're angry at something at work and you don't want to hurt nobody in real life, but you want to express it. Mr. Scarface is back. Go listen to that, man. That was it's one of my favorite albums all time. 82, EPMD, Business as Usual. Well, I'm glad EPMD on here getting love. Pretty sure they got at least one more, or at least they should. Very dope album. And for those who don't know, man, EPMD's run of their first 4 albums, tough. You know what I'm saying? All right, 2 more, I believe. Compton's Most Wanted, Music to Drive By, 1992. Dope. First of all, dope album cover. And then also classic West Coast hip hop. Classic MC8 before he went solo and all of that. And at 80, Lil' Kim Hardcore 1996. Definitely should be on this list. I don't know if this is too high on the list. I mean, too low, or maybe it should be higher. Who knows? All right, now we're going to skip to the top 10 on this list, and emotions will get involved. I'm just saying. Now, y'all, as I was scrolling through, there was some joints that I passed where I was like, this is not in the top 10, but I had to keep going. All right. So at number 10, Tupac, All Eyes on Me, 1996. 2026 is the 30th anniversary of that album, along with a number of classics like Lil' Kim's Hardcore that I did re-review videos for. One will release each month, and I bring a guest on, so you might want to check that out. There's 3 episodes so far. Tupac, Fugees, The Score, and De La Soul Stakes is High. So check that out. Links and cards and all that will be here for you to get right there to that content. Definitely Tupac, All Eyes on Me, and Machiavelli should be on this list. All Eyes on Me as a top 10 of the 90s. You got to remember, the 90s is Tupac's time. Like, he didn't release, all of his music's been released in the 90s. I'm talking about when he was alive. So from his debut, because I believe his debut was like 90 or 91 or something early. But through 96. So Me Against the World might not be top 10 if this is there. So we'll see. Let's get to number 9. Number 9, Mobb Deep, Infamous, 1995. I'm sort of surprised. Well, no, I'm not surprised, because the Infamous as an album has grown and grown in mystique over time, where because like Pusha T and Ninth Wonder say this is quintessential New York album. Neither one of them are from New York, but this is where we find ourselves with Infamous. So I'm not surprised it's in top 10. And probably deservingly so. But for what I know, I passed to get to this top 10. There were just some better overall albums. But this is an undeniable classic. Do not mistake that. All right. Number 8, Outkast AT-Aliens, also 1996. I got an episode coming up when this anniversary hits. So you can check that out. Yeah. Outkast is another group. I think maybe they got 1 or 2 albums in the 2000s, and it's early 2000s. I'm talking about like, what's the name of the joint? Idlewild and Speaker Box and Love Below. Like, I think maybe those were early 2000, but their peak or prime was in the 90s. And for AT-Aliens to be in the top 10 is kind of crazy, because I feel like Aquemini is the one, but hey, maybe it's just my favorite. All right, number 7. Reasonable Doubt. This is crazy. Reasonable Doubt in the top 10. This is crazy. Now, the reason why I say it's crazy, again, because it's also, that's 3 albums from 96. Are you keeping track? 30 years this year. Complex, you doing your thing? You trying to work the algorithm? You're not really making the list? You know what I'm saying? I got an episode coming up. Reasonable Doubt's anniversary is in June, and I got a dope episode coming up for y'all for that. So again, stay tuned to that playlist of 1996. Each month I'm releasing some. I got a surprise this week also. It's a bonus 1996 album. But the reason why I reacted like that is because if you were alive in 1996, for all that drop that year, only, and I'm not trying to be elitist, but only certain hip hop heads were up on Jay-Z's debut. Some people had to be convinced. Some people didn't care what Jay-Z dropped because Nas was out and Mobb Deep did something and Redman and all these other people. So to say top 10 when I watch y'all don't talk about Reasonable Doubt like that. Maybe it is for the 90s. I don't know. Now, personally, for me, it probably would be there, but I don't know. I'm not buying Reasonable Doubt in the top 10. But I see what y'all doing. I see what y'all doing, Complex. Undoubtedly should be top 5. I'm sorry. I know the 90s is a long time, but the Wu was just something different, right? Wu-Tang Clan into the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers, 1993. The Wu was just something different at the time. This album was a movement. It shifted hip-hop in its own way. So yeah, I definitely believe it should be in the top 10. Maybe it would have been top 5 for me, but 6 isn't bad. Y'all already know. The Notorious B.I.G. Ready to Die, Biggie Smalls' debut album, hell yeah, top 5, okay? And I know you may be from somewhere else. I know when I say I'm from Brooklyn, you think all of Brooklyn's talking. I'm talking for Vegas, okay? Biggie Smalls, okay? Should be here, so I like it. This top 10 isn't that bad, but so far it's been top heavy with a certain year, to be honest, and a certain coast, because I'm like, where's them Death Row releases? I ain't talking about Pac. Like, I saw one, it's not in the top 10. I'm just gonna let you know. But the other one should be, so let's see. Purple Tape. Y'all tell me, because I say yes. Okay. But I'm biased. I'm biased to when I heard this album, where I was in my life when this album dropped, and I thought it was dope. But we only on 4, and like, I'm just wondering what else could be here. But Purple Tape, for me personally, hell yes. Okay, yeah. Now this is just my list at this point. Y'all know Tribe, my favorite group, and my favorite Tribe album is Low End Theory, 1991. Cannot be denied. Things that were said about this album. I don't know about the order of what I've seen so far, but if Low End Theory's in the top 3, I'm not mad at it. But that's because they're my favorite group and this is my favorite album from them. So yeah. And guess what? Midnight Marauders was up a little bit, you know, because there's always a debate about which is better. And I think most of us love Midnight Marauders and believe it's a classic and it stayed on people's brains, but I will never forget what it was like when Check the Rhyme was all over the radio. The video was being played a million times when that album dropped. Scenario remix. It was just a crazy time. Midnight Marauders built off of that momentum. So top 2. I don't know what this could be. Hold on. Okay, this is what I was looking for, y'all, for Death Row. If any album is in the top 5 from Death Row, it gotta be The Chronic. Dr. Dre, 1992. For me personally, this was like a surprise because I would have never guessed with Dr. Dre leaving NWA and trying to establish all these new artists, a label, a movement, all in one motion, and Nothing But a G Thing took off. And this album just became instant classic material. I'm not mad at the top 10 now because I was looking like, okay, this is starting to look like the internet did it. And number 1, we know what it is. We know what it is because there's no way it's not in the top 10. Nas, Illmatic, 1994. This is crazy. Now, I know there's albums because I only went over the last 10 and the first 10, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the albums that people are looking for are all, within that 90 albums. But this was a no-brainer because I swear back then I kind of got it. Now I can't believe it. Illmatic is like the holy grail of hip hop. And it's crazy because as much as people swear by it, sometimes I don't see people talk enough or articulate why. You know what I'm saying? Like, why is Illmatic the default? Because everybody says so? Or because of what it actually did? We know it didn't really sell records, but if you're a hip hop head, who cares about record sales? But let's look at what Complex says about it and why it's number one. Lists such as, this is kind of long. Yeah, I ain't going to read all of this. We're just going to start off. Hold up, I lost my place a little bit. Lists such as the one you're reading inevitably lead to disagreements, if not full-on arguments. Amen to that. Fair-minded fans can disagree about whether the 90s was indeed rap's greatest decade. As Jigga once put it, did Jay-Z finance this list? I know. Not saying Jay-Z wasn't important in the 90s, but y'all gotta relax. Argue all day about who's the best MCs, Biggie, Jay-Z, and Nas. I hate that. Because when Jay-Z said it, it was not a thing that was being said. Who's the best MC, Big or Nas? That's what actually happened in real time. Now, it was genius of Jay-Z to insert himself into that conversation, but his first album, his debut, was 96. He wasn't in the conversation. Nas and Big been out. That was the King of New York battle, so to speak, not Jay-Z, but it worked. Jay-Z saying that worked. One thing they don't argue much about who made the best album, because it would be extremely difficult to make the case that Nas's Illmatic isn't the greatest rap album of the decade, if not all time. Now they kind of get into the different things about the album, but let's see what they say in the final paragraph to kind of cap it off. They really don't say anything. It's more so about him. So, first-person reflections of a young man growing up in Queensbridge, Illmatic painted a vivid picture of life in urban America after the crack boom. The all-killer, no-filler lineup had the brevity and severity of scripture. Songs like New York State of Mind, Life's a Bitch, and One Love conveyed a mental state that spoke to countless young men in America. Okay. So that's it. Now, when people are arguing online, you almost never hear them articulate in those ways. Y'all see some of them albums popping up. Y'all see them, but we gonna keep going. Okay. But you know what I mean? Like, Illmatic back then, and maybe I'm getting lost up in it a little bit in the hype and the talk. But Illmatic back then was different because of Nas, because of his age, because he was talking about the streets, but in an extremely poetic way. The words he chose, the perspective he had on things wasn't typical of hardcore hip hop / gangster rap, right? You either was a storyteller or you were warning people about what you could do or what would happen. But Nas was all of that, but it was truly like poetry, the way he put his words together. And to only have AZ, who was new, as the one feature and had this all-star lineup of producers. Wow, the Complex is giving my site the Modella treatment. Let me just scroll up a little bit. God damn, shit. But that's why people argue Illmatic as the best of all time. So again, best of the 90s. Do you agree? Is Illmatic the best of the 90s? Do you agree with that top 10? Do you feel like there are other albums that could have been put into that top 10 that may appear on the list, but they're just not that high? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Me personally, I feel like I like the list. I think from like looking at the back end and the front end of this list and saying these all are albums that should be here. And that's the most important thing. The order, the listing is debatable. So let's debate. You can follow me on social media at Vegas World INC, and don't forget to subscribe this podcast right here on YouTube. Hit the like button, hype the video, become a member if you would love to play a bigger role in the content right here on this channel. And remember, I'm not a critic, I'm a fan. Peace.